All right, so we've got our 3 threes. There's the 3 categories, the goals, the unions, and the strikes, and then there are 3 things underneath of them. What are the 3 goals? Better wages, better hours, better working conditions. The 3 unions, National Trades Union, which that's always the one people forget. So make sure that you don't forget that one. That just seems to be a tricky one. Then there's the Knights of Labor and the AFL. You can just write AFL on the test if you want to. And then there are 3 strikes: Great Railroad Strike, Homestead Strike, Pullman Strike. Now, another way that I remember those, if you can't keep them in the right order, they're actually in alphabetical order, G, H, and P. So if that helps you, that's the order that they go in. All right. So whenever you've got all your facts down, everything that you're going to be able to remember, you chunk them into 3 categories, which we've already got 3 categories, so it works out really well that way. That's when you want to start creating your thesis. So remember to use your chicken claw. We've got to do 3 ways that we're going to prove our thesis. Now, remember the question was, were labor unions successful in achieving their goals? Okay. Now, we know that they weren't. Did they ever get those better wages? Look at those strikes. Did they ever get their 10%, their 20%, or their 33% back? No, they never did. They always failed. So our thesis has to be that the labor unions, they could create unions. See, they were really successful. They finally got the AFL that was successful, but they never could get their goals, the things that they wanted. And the reason why did they fail in all 3 of these strikes? It's because of government intervention. The government was never on their side. It was going to take getting a president to side with them, which that's who we're going to talk about when I get back, when we talk about the progressives. It's going to be old Teddy Roosevelt who's finally going to be on workers' side. But until then, until they can get the government on their side, they're never going to be successful. So our thesis has to say something along the lines of, while they're successful in getting a union, they never get their goals because of government intervention. Now, how are 3 ways that we can prove the government intervened to keep them from getting their goals? Well, we got 3 examples right there. So that's your chicken claw. So I went ahead and I wrote this out because I knew it was going to take me a long time to write all that. So here's the stem of our chicken claw. They were successful in organizing, but unsuccessful in their goals because of government intervention. And then what are the 3 ways we're going to prove that? Those are our 3 strikes, okay? So I've written it out a little fancier, kind of like this, but you can word it however you want to. While laborers were successful in organizing labor unions, they're unsuccessful in meeting their goals due to government intervention in the Great Railroad Strike, Homestead Strike, and the Pullman Strike, okay? All right. So last little part, let's see if we can do this while before this baby gets too upset and before this video ends. So you're going to do your intro paragraph. Now, the way this is going to work is you've already got 3 paragraphs, so it's going to be really easy to do this, okay? So I would start off my essay by saying, during the Gilded Age, everything looked perfect on the outside, but on the inside there was corruption. Rich people are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, particularly business owners. Okay, so laborers have these 3 big problems. They need better wages, and I talk about how they're only making $3.50 a day. Talk about better hours. They're working 12+ hours, 6 days a week, and those better working conditions. Like, people are dying on their jobs. Okay, so I'd start that off in my intro paragraph. I'd let that be the intro about how bad things are. So then I'd say, to try to make things better, they're going to create labor unions. And then that's where you put your thesis. Remember, thesis always is the last sentence of your first paragraph. Always, 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 okay? So then after I said, so they've got all these problems, they're going to create labor unions to try to fix those problems. And then I'd say, while laborers were successful in organizing labor unions, they're unsuccessful in meeting their goals because of those 3 strikes with government intervention.